अ, आजचा विषय खूप आगळा वेगळा आहे आणि खूप इंटरेस्टिंग आहे. मला खूप असे प्रश्न येतात पालकांकडून, की माझी मुलगी वाचते हो खूप, पण ना ते सगळे फिक्शन आणि हॅरी पॉटर आणि पर्सी जॅक्सन, जेफ्री आर्चर, रस्किन बॉन्ड, हॅरी पॉटर हेच वाचत असतात. सो of course there is nothing wrong in reading fiction. Okay, it has its own advantages, uh, but parents are never satisfied with their children. This is a universal truth. First, I will talk all the good things about fiction, and then I will give you some tricks of how to have a transition from fiction to non-fiction, especially kids in the range of 12 to 16. Yeah, where this age it is very natural to get hooked to murder mysteries, all the thrillers, a little bit of romantic stories. So that's absolutely fine. Yeah, that's the phase they are going through, the initial adolescence stage. So Albert Einstein has said in his biography that knowledge is not power. And I was shocked after reading this line. But the next line comes after that. Knowledge is not power, imagination is. Imagination is the first step. Yeah, imagination generates curiosity. Curiosity, leads to creativity, and then few, not all creative ideas get converted into innovation, but creativity leads to innovation. Yeah, so the starting point is imagination. Every innovative product that you see around you, this mic, the book, this mobile phone, the lights, were all an imagination in somebody's mind. And then through a long process, it got manifested in the real world, right? So, unfortunately, imagination is not taught in schools and colleges. See, looking at the diverse audience right now in the room, I would prefer to speak mostly in English. थोडं मी मराठी पण बोलीन, but I could gauge from the audience that there are many non-Marathi people as well. So I'm speaking more of English. Okay? I hope that's okay, Shweta. Uh, so this is what the good thing is about fiction. Yeah. Yes, it is addictive, very addictive, especially at the tender age of 12, 13, 14. I understand. Uh, uh, See, Ruskin Bond, Jeffrey Archer, Nancy Drew, Percy Jackson, they're all safe books. Wimpy Kid is also good. Sometimes there is some problematic things in Wimpy Kids as well. But that's fine. I mean, it's much better than all the nonsense stuff that's going outside. Better than the drug abuse and the nonsense stuff being sold in the market. So, parents, relax. If your kids are reading books, there is nothing called negative book as such. Nobody publishes a negative book. Okay, if somebody wants to spread poison in the society, he will produce RDX and atom bombs and not books. He'll not write books. So your kids are in safe hands. But yes, nevertheless, non-fiction self-help books are really, really important. Yeah, I'm the standing example that I have created my own career out of reading self-help books. Yeah. It's a full-time profession. I've quit my CA profession to become the booklet guy of India, thanks to mostly self-help books and non-fiction books. Because we get to learn a lot from these books. That do not mean that we don't learn from fictional books. Yeah, I learned a lot from books like Who Moved My Cheese, a complete fictional work. uh, for चार उंदीर असतात. They're lost in a maze in search of food, in search of cheese, and every mouse has its own way of dealing with change, parivartan. Amazing story, amazing messages. The same writer has written another book. So all these books, all the kids in the room, I want you to note down the names of these books, because these are the books which will help you to have a very good transition from fiction to non-fiction. But the best part about these days, the young authors who are writing non-fiction self-help books have understood the power of stories. It's very unsurprising that kids get hooked to fictional books, because our it's natural. Our human brain is made for stories. It is wired for stories. We hate Excel sheets and PowerPoint bullet points. Tuck, 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 tuck. They're very boring. Yeah, but the moment I say, once I was going through a train, and there was a lady in black sari when she was holding the book Ulta, you're immediately hooked. Why? Because I painted a picture in just 2 seconds right now. A train, a lady in black sari holding a book Ulta. See, our brain is made to see pictures. Okay, not to read those black symbols on white paper. Very interesting, no? I'll tell you, you will be shocked. This will be the biggest shock of your life, that our brain is not made for reading. Reading doesn't come naturally to us. Yeah, I think no, some kids are smiling. Good news, chalo. See, that's why I don't read, mom. They'll declare a booklet guy said this. Wait a minute, I'm yet to finish. So let's go 5,000 years back, when the human being invented or discovered that he can communicate. He can communicate to his fellow beings. So the written text was not the first thing. He must have drawn a crude image. If he wants to convey tiger to his friend, to his colleague, he will draw tiger on the sand and try to communicate that it's a tiger. And then gradually, over a period of say 100, 200 years, they realize that it takes a lot of time and space to draw a picture. So let's come out with combination of symbols which will in turn represent an image. And we came out with, say, for example, English language, horizontal line with a vertical line is T, one vertical line is I, and GER represents a tiger. आणि इथे सगळा प्रॉब्लेम सुरू झाला. Because our brain is naturally wired to see a picture and not those black symbols, we have inserted an extra layer of those black symbols on the white paper, and then we have to convert those black symbols into the relevant image called tiger. Are you getting my point? I hope it's not sounding too complicated. TIGER is not an image. It's a combination of symbols, black symbols on the white paper. It represents an image called tiger. And now, because we are exposed to that word tiger so many times since childhood, the conversion patkan hota. Okay, but new words, it's hard to convert. So that's the problem. So you see why comics are so easy to get hooked. Now you understand why kids love comics. They come with pictures, with limited text, only dialogues, 1 or 2 lines of dialogues, and the rest of the picture. You get me? So I don't know who came out with this rule that once we get into adulthood, pictures went away out of the books. Crazy. Pictures are not only for kids. We all understand pictures. Our brain is made for pictures and images. Movie. The word movie comes from moving images. When we club all the images, we see it as a moving image. All right. Now, the most interesting part of the pictorial brain is that our subconscious mind is such a fool. It doesn't understand the difference between a real tiger in the jungle or in the zoo, or the tiger on the TV or on YouTube, or the tiger that you imagine on your mental canvas. All these three tigers are same for your subconscious mind. Very interesting phenomenon. We have to take advantage of this. The third, we call it as imagination. And that's where fictional books, they win. That's the victory of fictional books. And they constantly create pictures in our mind. And my imagination will be different from Anaga's imagination. Yeah. If I'm reading Harry Potter and she's reading Harry Potter, not watching, watching is director's imagination. We all see director's imagination. Our imagination shuts down, becomes zombies. But if you are reading, my Harry Potter was not as handsome as shown in the movie. He was not that fair. He had not having those. He was not. His face was not round. The jhadu was different. That was a very royal jhadu. Mine was the household jhadu on which she was flying. Yeah. So no wonder why Einstein said that imagination is power, knowledge is not power. Because imagination leads to curiosity, curiosity leads to creativity, and few of the creative ideas get converted into innovations and inventions. Now, coming back to Who Moved My Cheese, Spencer Johnson has written that book. So I would recommend all the kids who are finding it hard to transit from fiction to non-fiction to start with Who Moved My Cheese. Very tiny 60-pager book have broken all the world records in number of copies being sold. He has also written another book called Our Iceberg is Melting. Our Iceberg is Melting. Again, for all age groups, even for adults, it's a story of penguins, group of penguins instead of mice, and they gave corporate management lessons in the simplest possible form. Our iceberg is melting. Yeah. So, having said that, as I said, young authors have understood the power of stories. Yeah, a boring subject like history, nobody took interest, and suddenly a book called *Sapiens*, written by Yuval Noah Harari, was a super duper hit. I mean, nobody thought of writing history in such a way. He has written it in story form, okay, not those boring typical history books. Okay, you can take a look. But by the way, all the book names that I'm mentioning are part of Booklet app. I've already summarized them. *Sapiens* by Yuval Noah Harari. 5 lakh years history he has written in a beautiful, and I was hooked to that book. It's a very thick, fat book. Uh, few books, Indian books. Prakash Iyer is one of my favorite authors, Indian authors. He has written multiple books which are a collection of short stories, and I highly recommend for the kids to read those simple English language and some amazing stories with great messages. Yeah. For example, Habit of Winning. Again, I've summarized it. Habit of Winning. Secret of Leadership. Again, written by Prakash Iyer. Uh, there is one book, one renowned author called Robert Greene. Now his style of writing is little complicated, but again, he emphasizes his points only through stories. Robert Greene has written books like Mastery. Yeah, again, it's a thick, fat book, Mastery. But I've read all the books written by Robert Greene. The latest ones, Atomic Habits, you all know, by James Clear, is again full of anecdotes and stories. Yeah. So even my book, Seven Habits of Highly Effective Readers, is full of my own anecdotes, examples, illustrations, household stories, gharcha stories. Yeah, and then how I related it to my vital habits, which will make you a effective reader. So, but it's a very skinny book, not more than 50 pages. So I say that it's not a book; it's a booklet, pun intended. Well, now I'm going to share a few of my tricks, few things which I've never shared till now. I'm going to reveal some secrets that how I get to read so many books in the minimum possible time and yet retain a lot of majority of it. Uh, see, I learned from Atomic Habits by James Clear that small is beautiful. Okay, our brain hates huge, humongous tasks. Okay, if I ask Jyoti that you have to make a PowerPoint presentation of 50 slides, what will be Jyoti's first reaction? Arey baap re. Oh my God, 50 slides, and we will procrastinate. Udya karte. Yeah. If I ask Sojosh that no, you have to do 100 push-ups, 10 kilometers running, and 1,000 Surya Namaskar. Yeah, Suresh will run away. Dada beda झालाय. Right? Because it's obvious our brain doesn't like, because it's always on the go to conserve the energy, because brain has to conserve energy. conserve a lot of look. Oh, this is a book. Look at the thickness of this book. Oh, Homo Deus. Again, you all know Harari, A Brief History of Tomorrow. I'll just check what a number of pages. 498, almost 500 pages book. Yeah. What is your reaction? Oh my God. Okay, I'll show you another book. Uh, Losing My Virginity, Richard Branson's famous autobiography. Look at the thickness. Hmm? Or, yeah, one of my favorites, Einstein's autobiography written by Wharton Isaacson. What are the pages? Oh my God. 685 pages. Now, I'm going to give you an analogy. Suppose I live in Thane and I have to go to Pune uh, by driving at the night. I hate night driving, but for some reason, there is no other choice. So I have to drive from Thane to Pune on an express highway after 8 p.m. It would take 3 4 hours. Now I keep thinking, oh, I have to drive from Thane to Pune, so I'll have to cross 30 signals, 25 right turns, 17 left turns, and 5 roundabouts, and 107 speed breakers, and I have to hit brake 50 times and hit the accelerator 79 times. Do we think so? No, right? That's exactly what we do when we take a thick, fat book. Half of the time we waste our energy looking at the remaining pages of the book. But the fact is that when I'm driving, especially at night, the headlight is showing me the road ahead only 4 meters long. Only by looking at the 4 meters road, I'm going to cover some 100 kilometers or whatever from Thane to Pune. We don't get overwhelmed by so many signals and speed breakers and toll nakas and right turns and left turns. Are you getting my point? This is the drawback of imagination. Imagination is a double-edged sword. Okay, if used in the right way, yes, it helps to manifest great innovation. But we start seeing something that's never going to happen. Fear. It generates fear. Imagination is the main reason why we fear about the future. So don't you think whether the book is of 600 pages, 700 pages, of 100 pages, you have to read only one page at a time? Yes or no? Rest of the pages are useless for you at that moment of time. They're yet to come, right? Same goes with life. If I hate this word life is used so much. Wow, life. I have to change your life. I don't like to use this word life, or at least the interpretation of the word life. We look at life as the long duration between birth and death. No, that's a wrong definition because it makes you feel overwhelmed. For me, the yesterdays are dead, the tomorrows are unborn. Yes or no? Both are not in our control. What is left is today. So my life begins at 5 a.m. when I wake up and ends at 9:30 when I go to bed. Got it? So don't you think the analogy is the same? The analogy of the night driving, the 4 meters of the road which is highlighted by the headlights, one day is life, and one page is the book to me right now. Yeah. और होता क्या है? If I'm reading page number one, half of my energy goes in looking at the remaining 499 pages. Problem तो है. Yeah. So I think we should just, I don't know, we have to come out with some innovative idea. जर मी तुम्हाला या पुस्तकाचं एक एक पान फाडून दिलं, I'll give it to Sojosh. Only one page. Huh? Sojosh will read that page. Then I'll give the second page. Then he will read. Then I'll give the third page. He will read the entire 500-pager book. Yes or no? By just removing those 499 pages out of his sight. Now you understand why these small, tiny messages, Twitter are hit. Because they look like stupid, tiny 1-minute tasks. Our brain loves to do them. putting a comment on YouTube, sharing a joke on WhatsApp, hitting a like on Facebook. They are all stupid looking 5 second, 1 minute task. Task पण शब्द मोठा आहे. Right? A click, right? So the problem here is, when you hold this book, अरे बाप रे, the one mental tendency of humans is that farther the goal, जेवढा goal आपल्यापासून लांब ना, lesser the motivation. Okay, we get demotivated if our goal is far away. But if the goal is very close, our motivation doubles. You know this? I experience this every day. If I have to do, say, 100 through Surya Namaskar, okay, first 10 are quite easy because I'm not tired, 20, 30. The worst part is 40, 50, 60. But you know what? After 90, my speed goes up. I feel less tired. I think it is not physical, it is mental. That I know my goal is very clear. I'm very close to the goal, right? And I feel more energetic. Athletes, the Olympic athletes, when the finish, they are close to the finish line, their speed actually increases, even if they are physically tired. So our motivation naturally goes up when the goal is closer to the finish line. But the problem is when you hold a book of say 600 pages and we are on page number 4, what is the obvious signal to the mind? अरे बाप रे, अजून एवढी एवढी पानं बाकी आहेत. We don't say it expressly. Okay, it's there at the subconscious, deep subconscious level, because we are holding those unwanted 499 pages. How unfortunate, na? I wish there would have been some technology where those 499 pages go out of my sight. I have taught myself to ignore those pages, right? I hope you are getting my point. If I divide this book into 10 pages, you all will read it khushi khushi. But then, I don't know, if you have any idea, the innovative idea, that will be a fantastic hit startup idea, right? And so unfortunately, booklet summaries are a hit. I'm not happy about it. Because 20 minutes, hardly few pages, and you get the feeling of sense of fulfillment that I finished the book in no time. But unfortunately, success, okay, comes by doing things which take longer time. Delayed gratification, reading, exercise, meditation, they all are long-term activities. You don't get the results overnight, right? You go to the gym, do those 100 crunches, and come back after 3 months. The tummy is as it is. There are no signs of six packs. The love handles are, playing around your waist. Those flappy arms and double chin are as it is. Great things take time to happen. But if you keep going, if you keep have faith in these long-term activities, keep reading, keep exercising for 9 months, 10 months, 11 months. After 11 months, gradually your body will start coming in shape. Okay. So your choice during the day, throughout the day, we make choices between instant gratification activity or delayed gratification activity. But unfortunately, we fall prey to the attractions of instant gratification activities. Kapil Sharma or going to the gym. Kapil Sharma will give me immediate laughter on my face. Going to the gym is not going to give me any smile or laughter. In fact, it's going to give me pain to my muscles and heartbeats. Right? So this is a message to all the kids out there like Swajosh, that these people are there to with these app owners, all those unproductive apps or time pass wale apps, they are there to hack your brain because they know our human weakness is instant gratification. But equally, we can hack back them by putting off the notifications, by deleting those unproductive apps, right? Okay. So I think the main lesson through last discussion is that we should not bother about those remaining pages. Okay, and it is not necessary to complete the book of 500 pages. You can get something very important from very on the page which you are reading, on which you are right now. All right. So just forget about the future. Don't bother about the results. Just enjoy the process. Read for the sake of reading, one page at a time. That's all. Okay. Uh, one thing I've been practicing since 2 3 months. It's working for me. It's a new practice. So especially if it's an interesting story, okay, and I have a fear that I might procrastinate reading. I may not come back to read that same book tomorrow. When the story gets very interesting, it is at a cliffhanger, there is some suspense, stop reading so that you you will be forced to come back tomorrow. Are you getting my point? Because if the story is over, there is no curiosity left. What's next? And there is a chance that you might not get back to the book tomorrow for the remaining chapters. So it's not necessary you have to end at the end of the chapter. All right. I do this in booklet. If you have observed, I always end the part one with some element of curiosity, some half-hearted story, so that you have the curiosity to listen to the second part or read the second part. That's what these daily soap serial wale people do. Saas Bahu serials and all those. Yeah. They end the episode at such a cliffhanger कि पूरा वो 24 घंटा कल जब तक नेक्स्ट एपिसोड नहीं आता है हमारे दिमाग में रहता है कि क्या हो उस तो सास ने ऐसा किया किसने खून किया होगा सास ने या बहू ने राइट so this is what we have to do. Yeah, I know it is not easy. Yeah, you feel like पढ़ लेते हैं ना वो किसने वो क्या किया just reveal the secret. But try this out and stop then and there, and then see you'll never leave the book. Hmm? Uh, and interestingly, people like Morgan Housel. Morgan Housel is a very new author, and he has become one of my favorites. So this is my new habit that I want to share. Initially, I used to hunt books. But what I've realized is, see, book is just a medium, right? Just a medium to transfer the ideas, experiences of the author into me, into my mind. So if the author is the person behind the book that I have to chase and not the book. I got this idea from my behavior about movies. See, if you see, there are few directors or actors which whom we like. और उसका पिक्चर आया तो we just watch that movie blindly. For example, Raju Hirani is a famous director in India. And once I liked his Munna Bhai MBBS and Lagero Munna Bhai, I have decided that whatever movie, because those movies related to, I just felt related to them. I just fell in love with these scripts and light comedy, family show with a beautiful message of Gandhi in Lagero. आई थिंक दैट तो मेरे लिए बना है पिक्चर सो इसके बाद राजू हिरानी जो भी बनाएगा मूवी आई विल वॉच दिस इज माय फिल्टर क्राइटेरिया बिकॉज thousands of movies come out I'm not interested in those but then this is a very good filter that you select things by looking at people and not the result or the end product right like Steve Jobs अगर जिंदा होता वो कुछ भी बनाता हम ले लेते आज because we know whatever he will come out will come out with some fantastic thing. The same many times we behave on WhatsApp, right? We don't check everybody's message. पर एक कोई बंदा है बंदी रहता है जो रोज मैसेज नहीं करता है पर उसका मैसेज हम जरूर पढ़ेंगे वो जो भेजता है ना वो वाकई में अच्छा रहता है यूजफुल रहता है राइट we unknowingly filter out WhatsApp messages. Same thing we have to do in books. So what I do is once I came to know that Adam Grant is an amazing writer and I get to learn something new whenever I read his book. Adam Grant. He has written books like Originals or Give and Take. Give and Take is a must-read book. I would say it's a level of a Bible. Give and Take. Revolutionary book. Okay? Needless to mention, I have summarized it in Booklet app by Adam Grant. And so whatever book he writes henceforth, I'm going to buy his book blindly. Because the topics that he chooses and the ideas that he presents, so lots of experiments, anecdotes, I I will there are chances that I will like him, like his content. Same goes with Morgan Housel. He he's one of the few authors where his first book was a super hit. Psychology of Money. Okay. And his writing style, I fell in love with his writing style and the content, of course. Being a chartered accountant, I have read like more than 300 books only on investment, finance, and stock market. Yet, I got to learn something new from Morgan Housel, from his book Psychology of Money. That means he's really something different guy, right? And he came out with a new book, same as ever. I bought it blindly. हाँ होता है कि कभी कभी नो बट दिस इज अ good way of filtering out. I'm not saying that I might end up liking each and every book of his. Like Raju Hirani's Sanju, I do not like. I was surprised कि इसने ऐसे कैसे पिक्चर बनाई. But that's not an exception. बाकी सब Three Idiots, PK, all are my favorites. Got it? और अभी भी कुछ आ रही है उसकी पिक्चर. I think I don't know. My friend was saying. Definitely, I'm going to watch it because I'm just trying to mitigate the risk. If you're bombarded, you're exposed to so many books, so many movies, so many songs, then the best filter is people, right? I know AR Rahman जो भी म्यूजिक बनाएगा वो अच्छा ही रहेगा. Got it? So instead of going by the products, end products, you filter out through people, whether it is books, music, movies, whatever. So henceforth, I'll just give you few authors' names. Yeah, and then what I do is I just don't go through the books. मैं उसकी पूरी जन्म कुंडली निकालता हूँ इंटरनेट में. For example, if I like, say, Adam Grant, okay, I'll go and watch all his TED Talks, interviews, podcasts. Yeah, jaha jaha wo Google Talk is a very good platform where Google invites great authors to talk there. Now, when you watch YouTube videos, now why I'm saying these things for kids, because watching is also part of reading as long as it's not a drama. It's a conversation between two people. Then that doesn't shun your imagination, right? But unfortunately, we always watch the performance and not the performer. How many of you have watched comedy of Mr. Bean? Just raise your hand. Everybody has watched Mr. Bean's comedy? Yeah. How many of you have watched Mr. Bean's interview? Nobody. See, you go through so many adversities. I just cried after listening to the story. He was so bullied, his funny face, long nose, and big eyes. He was bullied in school days, and he converted his weakness into strength. The way he makes faces and make us laugh. Yeah, he has a funny face, right? And silent comedy was his invention. Slow and silent. Charlie Chaplin was known for fast. It was very fast, but this guy is and his funny innocent doll was his innovation, right? So I got to learn. Now he's not an author. Unfortunately, he's not written a book, but I got to learn a lot. I think after listening to his interview, I felt like I read his autobiography. He said, don't look at the kite. Look at the person who is flying the kite. Yeah, kite is the performance. The person who is flying the kite is the performer. All right. जो भी any successful, whether it is Amitabh Bachchan, Sachin Tendulkar, I just watch interviews and podcasts. Now, how do I filter out? Now, whenever you search, suppose you want to learn more about Morgan Housel, as I said, you should chase people and authors and not books, right? So Morgan Housel, if you write Morgan Housel on YouTube, you'll mostly get content of other people of his books. Although there is nothing bad in it, but it's always safe to get the knowledge directly from the horse's mouth. तो पहले तो ऊपर के आपको सब ये मिलेंगे, 3 minute, 5 minute, what I learned from this book from other people, which is absolutely okay. But what I do is I check the videos. I write the name of the author, Adam Grant's interview podcast, and then the name of the book, probably. Or sometimes I don't write the book name of the book also. So Adam Grant podcast or interview, and then I filter out the long videos, not the short videos, not the videos of 10 minutes, 20 minutes. They're mostly shallow. 1 hour, 2 hour podcast discussions. They are very deep, focused discussions. It's as good as reading a book. All right. But unfortunately, The hits that will you get will be the smaller ones, videos made by other people and not the author himself. So you have to little go down and search for the longer videos. This has worked for me. All right. And then I increase the speed, the playback speed of the video. If I am able to understand the accent, I increase the speed so that I don't waste much time. So this is what I do. This is my personal, that to get the most with minimum time and minimum money. And every time you don't have to spend 500 rupees to buy a book. Although everybody is not lucky like me, and I don't need to buy books. People just gift me from. I get books across the world. All the famous authors send their books to me. Every day I get one book through courier. I have 4,000 books at home right now. But then, as I said, YouTube is a very good way to get in touch with the author. Second secret that I do, I've never talked about it. Uh, See, Goodreads is a very good platform. And there is one feature on Goodreads. I hope you all know what is Goodreads. It's a platform of all the readers who share their current reads and they create their profiles. Goodreads.com. Now, on Goodreads, so, people read on Kindle. Although Kindle is not so popular in India, outside India, it's very, very popular. So, there is a feature on Kindle to highlight a text, something, a chapter or a paragraph. And that highlighted part gets uploaded on Goodreads. Now look at it, how I'm trying to bank on the efforts of other readers to get the maximum in minimum time from the book. For example, uh, there is a new author, okay, and I'm not sure whether he's a good author, but suna hai uske bare mein. All right. So a safe way to judge the book, what I do is I write the name of the book, I write Goodreads, and I write quotes. Say, for example, uh, uh, say, कौन सा book बोलूं मैं? हाँ, The Joy of Work, Dilbert. Dilbert, The Joy of Work by Scott Adams. ऐसा एक book है. I'm not sure whether Scott Adams is a good writer or not. So what I'll do is I'll write the name of the book. Okay, The Joy of Work, Scott Adams, Goodreads, quotes. All right, name of the book, author's name, Goodreads, and quotes. Now I'll get all the highlighted parts of the book. That thousands of people who have read that book, I'll get only the highlighted part. There is a chance that I'll get the best of the best parts of the book. Minimum time. And sometimes you get addicted. Huh? I get addicted to read that. If I get addicted to read the best part, that means probably the book is great one. So this is a hack that I use. It's very helpful. Farid, it is Farid's favorite. He's always on Goodreads. And minimum time big ideas we get. Of course, it is not a substitute for book, okay? It is just to get curious and filter out the not bad books but irrelevant books. Filter out the irrelevant books. Many times when I get to read those quotes, now the actually it's not only quotes, it's the highlighted parts. So there could be big paragraphs which are highlighted by the other readers in the world. Yeah. And so you get a ballpark idea that is the book really worth reading? Is there a chance that I'll get to know something completely different from the book, something new? You'll definitely get that idea. All right. I use this in this book called Option B. There's a fantastic book called Option B, written by Sheryl Sandberg. She's the ex-CEO of Facebook. Now, she was completely new to me. The ex-CEO of Facebook, वो क्या मुझे सिखाएगी? Was the first impression. So I went to Goodreads and it blew my mind. Oh my God, the way she wrote. I immediately read her Option B, then her next book, Lean In, where she talks about career and entrepreneurship for women. Yeah, and she lost her husband in an accident, and after that, she wrote a book called Option B. So these are my small tricks which help me, with the hope that that will help you too. Second thing, see, the paragraph thing in the books is most underrated feature. See, when an author changes the paragraph, there is some reason. There is some reason he changes the paragraph, that जो सब टॉपिक है वो खत्म हो रहा है, right? There's a main chapter heading, then there is a subtopic, there is a topic and the topic and the topic, nested topics. So he changes the paragraph whenever that the lowest level topic changes. Are you getting my point? Now what I do is when I start reading, pehle to the introduction chapter most of the time is the most boring chapter. Okay, and what people do is they start with chapter number one, and chapter number one is usually the history. ये क्यों? Now, I could have easily fattened my book to 300 pages by giving an introduction, why reading is important, what are the benefits of reading. मैंने ये सब कुछ लिखा नहीं. Because the fact that you have taken this book, that means you know all these things, that reading is important. Why should I again tell you about the history of reading? No, I just started with habit number one. Don't take reading too seriously. I did not talk about introduction, history, रीडिंग कब से शुरू हुई. अगर मुझे बुक मोटी करनी होती तो मैं करता. बट देन fortunately I didn't have to approach a publisher. Yeah, to win a notorious publisher I have to fatten a book. No publisher will entertain me for this skinny book of 50-60 pages. But मला publisher ची गरज काय? I have millions of readers a click away to me whom I can get in touch directly without a publisher. So that's a risk I could take. सो सांगण्याचं तात्पर्य हा आहे की सो स्किप द इंट्रोडक्शन चॅप्टर. ओके, बिंदास, टेक इट as a word from me. Second, when you read a paragraph, okay, first line will tell you probably about the story or what is the content. Okay, if you do not find some, or then I directly read the last line of the paragraph. या दोन लाईन मध्ये मला काही इंटरेस्टिंग मिळालं नाही ना, I skip the paragraph. It is safe because you might, now the obvious question that might come to your mind is that what if the second paragraph is dependent on the first paragraph? I'll not understand the next paragraph. That's what I'm saying. That is the beauty of paragraph. If the paragraph has changed, that means probably the context has changed, the subtopic has changed. आता त्यांनी पूर्ण एकाच paragraph मध्ये दिलेलं असतं ना. All right. Or if you don't find, if it is boring, you can skip the paragraph. I'm not saying skip the page. That is a little risky. You can skip the paragraph. So paragraphs are खूप importance there. Because many times what happens that even good authors don't give headings. They just change the paragraph. See, when there is a heading, it is easy to bifurcate. Yeah, चला heading आला म्हणजे तो topic change झाला. Right? Headings, subheadings असतात. That is a very good, easy way to skip. की तुला हा heading काय आहे? For example, I was reading a book yesterday called Insanely Simple by Kane Segel. He was an employee in Apple and very close to Steve Jobs, and how the company Apple is driven by simplicity. तुम्ही बघितलं की आयफोन मध्ये पूर्वी there was only one button. Samsung had 3 buttons, but iPhone had only 1 button. Now that 1 button is also disappeared. That is, they focus on simplicity so much. That simple comes to us naturally. The simplest form of organism in this world is earthworm. And if you see in the science of evolution, the simplest species have been successful the most in the cycle of evolution. Whereas the complicated animals, त्यांची population खूप कमी असते. That means simplicity and survival and nature are connected. So humans also desire simplicity. You remember you bought that microwave with so many complicated features that you did not use for 5 days when you bought it. एवढे बटन असतात आणि काय ते हीट आणि हे एवढं असतात गोष्टी, किंवा वॉशिंग मशीन, राईट? But nobody complained about iPhone or iPad that I find it difficult to use it. That's what I did in Booklet app as well. There's not a single complaint in Booklet app that I find it very difficult to navigate. The latest version is much more simpler. I've removed so many unwanted features and made it more simple to your eyes. So when I was reading this book, Insanely Simple by Kane Segel, I found some ideas very fascinating. You know what Steve Jobs used to do? He was very strict about small teams. Okay, because the bigger the teams, more time to take decisions, bureaucracy येणार, hierarchy वाढणार. So suppose the design and marketing team Apple is a huge company, by the way. So he said that not a single employee more than 100 in design and marketing team. Okay, yeah. And the rule was so strict that if at all you are planning to recruit one more person in the team, one person has to go out. I said, wow, this is something amazing. I read this in things. Yeah, I read it in Marie Com's book, uh, Marie Kondo, not Marie Com, Marie Kondo, who is a minimalist. She has written a book called The Magic of Tidying Up, The World Changing the Magic of Tidying Up, where if you don't want to accumulate things in house, if you get something new thing in the house, you have to discard one related thing out of your house. For example, uh, if I get a new pen, then I should discard one pen, pencil, rubber out of my house. Okay, some co-relevant items should go out. But he used this in case of teams. Now just imagine over a period of time, when a new person has to come in, the least useful, productive man or a woman has to go out of the team, right? And the new guy has to be much, much better than the person who will be going out of the team. So over a period of time, only the best of the best people will be retained in the team. Don't you think this rule does wonders to get the best minds in the world? No wonder Apple is the most innovative company, tech company in the world. Now, I found this idea very interesting. But there was one chapter about passion, that if you're working on your passion, then you will come out with great ideas and products. Now, I did not go deep into this chapter because नित्य जगतो है ना. I'm already working on my passion. I know that working on your passion is so important. That work doesn't remain work; it becomes play if you working on your passion, right? So I did not go into the details. Yeah, but other ideas which I told, I talked about it so many times. Since yesterday, I spoke for 3 times with 3 different friends because I revised the concept. But I did not talk about that passion wala concept. Are you getting my point? This is how you have to create your own bias when you're reading a book. Don't give, don't have an academic approach to the books. These academic things have made our mind so robust that each and every line is important. I'll be asked. That is for exams. अवांतर वाचनात हे सगळं होणार नाहीये. You and your book, you have a lot of freedom. What to keep, what to quit, what to underline, what not to underline. Yeah, what is useful, what is useless. It is your responsibility. Now, when I say useless, okay, what might be useless to me might be useful to Madhura when she is reading a book, the same book. So don't think that I'm trying to insult the author. Or maybe what is useless to me right now, 10 years later, it will be useful to me. But right now, it is useless. For example, this passion wala thing in this book, that whole chapter was useless to me right now because I'm living that idea. वो मेरे नस मस में already है. I better focus on other ideas which are new to me on other chapters. So this is how, no, it is your. I learned this from Hitler. Hitler's book Mein Kampf. He has said that it is the reader's responsibility to gauge what is useful and what is useless while reading a book. I think it makes a lot of sense. This is the most underrated thing in reading habit. Okay, so it's don't think that you have to learn everything. You have to remember everything from the book. No. How many? Uh, I asked this question to Shweta. Shweta, you can unmute. Tell me, लहानपणापासून आजपर्यंत तू जे जे काय खाल्लंयस, अगदी लहानपण सेरेलॅक पासून ते आजपर्यंत शेवटचे तू काय पावभाजी खाल्ली असेल, सगळं तुला आठवतंय? सगळं
अजिबात नाही.
एकूण एक पदार्थ नाही आठवते ना, चांगला
नाही.
वाईट नाही आठवत. या बट all that food has gone to make you. They have become
बरोबर.
part of you. They have become you.
बरोबर.
That's the whole point. So many a times when you read, it is not necessary that it has to be there on the top of your mind, on the conscious mind. It will be there. It will come out at the right time. It has become part of you. You don't remember it, but subconsciously it is there. like food has gone to become you. ऑलराईट. सो हा हट्ट धरायचा सोडा. मला सगळंच लक्षात, कारण ते सगळंच लक्षात ठेवण्याच्या नादात काहीच लक्षात राहत नाही. सो इट्स ओके टू रिमेंबर 3-4 बिग आयडियाज, लाईक insanely simple मध्ये this one employee coming and one employee go out is a fascinating idea for me. I'm going to repeat it again and again and again. Now, what do I mean by going deep? Going deep means doesn't mean that you should now research more on that topic. No, you got this idea about the restricting the number of people in the team, uh, that Steve Jobs did in his company. Now I'm going to repeat it again and again. I'm going to talk about it again and again. Right? This is also part of implementation. That's my next book, How to Implement What You Read. We think that implementation means some physical action. No, that is one part. Okay. Before that, you have to reproduce that idea either by writing or talking. And if you keep talking, how long it will happen that there is a gap between what you talk and what you do. So before an action, talking has to happen. See, many things I just initially talked about. For example, Start With Why, the book that we are supposed to discuss. Start With Why. Initially, I got the importance of why, that I have to talk about why. But for almost 1 and 2 years, I was talking about the importance of why, and I was not talking about my why. I was only talking about the what's, booklet app, book summaries. Gradually, because I kept talking about his idea of Start With Why, then gradually my talk got converted into my actions, and I gradually stopped talking about booklet app and started talking about reading habit, which is my why. It did not happen overnight. तुम्हाला कळलं का मी खूप कॉम्प्लिकेटेड करतोय? मला म्हणायचं काय आहे, मराठीत एकदा बोलून सांगतो, की स्टार्ट विथ व्हायचा जो कन्सेप्ट आहे, स्टार्ट विथ व्हाय अँड नॉट व्हॉट. हेच पुस्तकाचं सारांश आहे. व्हाय आय एम डुईंग व्हॉट आय एम डुईंग. नाव इनिशियली फॉर 2 years I was only talking that start with why. I was myself not starting with why. I was starting with what? It's booklet app. But when I did not stop talking about start with why, so somewhere I had started implementing it. And मग मला नकळत I started living that idea. So you don't live that idea immediately. For that, you have to bring it on the tip of your tongue. And then when you repeat it on the tip of your tongue, it will go on the top of your mind. And once it is on your top of your mind, it will take place through your actions. ही प्रोसेस आहे, सर पटकन होणार नाही. कारण इतके वर्षाची सवय आपली जी आहे, जुनी सवय, त्याला रिप्लेस करण्याला वेळ लागणार. सो टॉकिंग इज इन आवर कंट्रोल.